Right, so where we going? It is Kaz here, and I'm a little bit early because we're kind of testing something out. I'm not sure what the hell is going on with the Streamlabs slash the StreamYard, which seems to be choppy, jumping around everywhere like a goddamn mess. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just going to try something for a little while, see if anyone turns up, see what the sound is like, see if it's appreciated, see if it gives you better quality. And then from there we're going to break down what's happening with Ukraine, infantry, motorised infantry, tactics, how much they're paid, the breakdown, how many of them is in a vehicle, etc. And what your thoughts are on their infantry tactics. So let's see who comes in. I'm not even sure if this is live. I'm not sure what's going on at all. We're trying something different for your pleasure, for her pleasure. Who's going to be the first to comment? Are we even live? Hopefully it works. Doesn't say there's anyone here yet. What's going on in your life anyway? Did you ever consider, if you couldn't get in the Australian Army, British Army, Canadian Army, that you thought maybe it's a good thing to go over and help Ukraine? Do you actually have a problem with Russians? Have you ever met one? Or is it just about chasing the adventure? Who knows? It's up to you. Is it a mistake? Would you come back normal? What would it be like? Would you make friends? Would you be misled? Would you be left on the battlefield in winter? Pretty scary options. Pretty scary indeed. As a professional infantry guy from a 24-year career, I can tell you now, I wouldn't want to be over there fighting. I don't have a problem with the Russians. I don't have a problem with the Ukrainians. But I wouldn't want to go and die on European soil, knowing that my name will never go anywhere. It might become a little wooden popsicle cross, as a foreign fighter. But, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Like every other war, battle, this is going to be a part of history, and there'll be something else to replace it. There you go. You are here. I'm not actually sure. Low sound. Wait a sec. Wait 2 minutes. 2 seconds, sorry. I know why the sound's low. How's that? Is that a bit better? I was looking at the other screen. Nothing was coming up. Then all of a sudden, bam, here you are. So g'day, Nicole. How you going? Maddie, how you going? MMA recap, looking good. Low sound. Where are we now? So the sound should be a little bit better now. What do you reckon? I don't want it to peak and get to a point that it blows your ears out. No, don't get up. Wingy, g'day, mate. Simon Powell, 100% better. Hopefully there's less break in the actual transmission here. Is it coming out like I'm shouting? Wingy, you playing games with me? Guys, naturally this is the first time we've actually had this on, this version. Sounding good. G'day, Lanky Warrior. I couldn't get to speak to you this afternoon. Naturally, you came in a bit late, and I was trying to set this up, and again, for her pleasure. Before we go into the actual mechanics of this, guys, I'm a little bit ignorant. With the Ukraine conflict, it almost feels like it's forgotten already, which is tragic. As is what is happening with Palestine, as what is happening across Syria, also across Africa, also across Philippines and so many other countries, and now India and Pakistan. I don't know if there's more conflict going on, whether there's more unrest, if spirituality and good Samaritans disappear into the nether. I don't know. But what I do know is it feels like people's general kindness is lacking. And as that goes down, spirituality goes down, shame goes down, family is put on the back burner as a priority, and money becomes our new god. It's not good. It's not good for society, and it's normally been the marker of bad news in the past. Let's quickly put a video on. This will be a 4-minute video just as a tester to see how we can go for clarity, sound clarity, etc. And then we'll move on to the video that explains what I actually paid. What is the organisation of the motorised infantry, which, funny enough, is what Australia is about to start modelling their forces all off with infantry fighting vehicles. For those that join the army right now, understand, but in conventional warfare, this is semi-conventional, but a lot of them are very, very undertrained. Very, very brave, but undertrained. So let's see what's going on, and we'll extrapolate some of this. Simon says, I have news. My young cousin Harry starts at Singleton this week, just after marching out of Kapuka. Go on, Harry's boy. Well done to Harry. Going for the Skippy badge. Break it away from the RAF family. Wingy. To me, it seems that people think it's big news now, so they don't want to know anyone anymore. Yeah. Nicole, I believe so many people, especially those who have never served, are war weary. Yep. I think their faith in our leadership is also lacking, and we're going to get sent somewhere where only the low socioeconomic actually gets sent, while the oligarchs of Australia and the Western world make the money off our backs. If the fight feels like you're meant to be there, looking after the little guy, a fight you can win, then maybe, just maybe, it's all worth it. But is it worth giving up every single one of your comforts, every single one of your tomorrows, all of your potential for children, love and legacy, so that you can go to a country where you've never met an occupant from, that we owe nothing to, and then give all of that up to be forgotten like a fart in an elevator by someone with no sense of smell? Let's have a look at this video, and then we'll go from there. We'll start this one. Look at that. That bunker is terrifying. Oh.
Леха, ты як? Леха!
The commander with the body-worn camera speaks to someone who has an oversight. Russian soldiers are referred to as orcs. Oh. See. I can't pause it. See that grenade? Get lobbed at him. Don't catch grenade, Bruno Mars. I'll turn the volume down so you can get the picture. Is that wasteland worth dying over when most of the Ukrainians have already said, fuck that, I'm not fighting, but want you to come and die for their country so that you can come and liberate them back with their women that are now on OnlyFans? Yeah, I saw that, Nicole. Look at that. Geez, that muzzle awareness scares the shit out of you. Only a termite would be happy there. G'day, Nasty. How you going, buddy? I can't pause this, I'm sorry, team. So they had a lone Russian charge their position to throw a grenade, not understanding that he's going against a defensive position where he's outmatched and a grenade is going to have little effect. Balls or stupidity? Which one is it? Let us know. No, I don't think they're holding above their head and firing. I think some do. How's that sound going, team? Go to the bunker. There's too many of them in one spot there, team. They need to be more spread out. You get enveloped by an enemy section there, or multiple sections that are actually trained as a platoon to do flanking positions and realise they can isolate, they can get close enough that you can't use your indirect to support yourself, you know, because of danger close, and then they can actually get into your position. A few grenades in there and she's all over. God bless these guys, but their balls are definitely made of steel. We've got another video that we're going to be playing in a second, but that one was just do a bit of a heat test, sound test, see how we go. I will be able to pause the next video that comes up because it will actually be on YouTube. I don't have any ads. I've got YouTube red. How are we all going anyway, team? So we've got Simon Powell's actually going to have his man on the ground. Do we have any buffering problems that are occurring in the background at the moment? Let's have a look. I hope you're all having a good week. At the moment, Mother's Day is out the way now. I didn't make any mothers. You know, got up to see the old girl. She's in her 80s now. All good, mate. Nasty, smooth stream so far. Good to hear. Good to hear. Guys, just so we're letting you know, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about something we don't talk enough about, and that's actually infantry in action being used by the mechanized Ukrainian infantry. So that you can look at that and actually think it's not just a fantasy of looking things on paper, looking at people with a red barrel denoting blanks. You're seeing people for real using their infantry tactics, standard operated procedures, TTPs, in an actual contested area with battle fatigue, war fatigue. How long have these guys actually been in the trenches up to this point? How many winters have they been through? Are they new? Do they understand each other's language? Is the leadership poor? You know, can they trust their leadership? You know, do they get time off the line? What does that look like? Are they getting any of the information, or are they only getting propaganda? Are all of the people that come and join them coming from conscription and forced conscription that's happening from Ukrainian forces, Ukrainian civilians? Pretty scary to have a birthday in Ukraine, isn't it? If that means that you're now getting pushed to the front while you can hear that NATO and the US are saying no more, Oliver Twist. Very, very scary and very, very tragic. Johnny Tiggs, g'day mate, how you going, doctor? Nasty, in my third week of gym so far, feeling a little more energy. Can't wait for my PFA date to get sent to me eventually. It'll happen, Nasty, and just remember, you need to go for muscular endurance. That's what you're looking for, muscular endurance. Let's have a look at this. Well, I'm unable to maximize the screen because for those that don't know, what's occurred is I've smoked my screen, the previous screen on another video where I left the computer on, left for a week and came back and the computer screen was basically dead. So at the moment I'll be watching this with you and we're going to find out what is actually happening with the Ukrainian forces. What's their medical like? You know, is there reimbursement for being wounded permanently, mentally? You know, what sort of problems do you think is going to face these people after the war? I think they're going to be an absolute mess. I think most of these guys are only going to be good to be used as bad guys in the background of the next Denzel Washington Equalizer movie, or to be used as contractors, because it's going to be so hard for them to go back where they have no homes, no families, you know, no future, and then be competing for careers and for women, you know, with men that never fought for the country at all, that made money, came back, while these guys just lost their mind and lost their friends, lost their family, and their probably, what would we call it, belief in why they were fighting in the first place, you know, because the true patriots are on the front lines, you know, and if you came back and found out now you've got 2 kids, 2 your missus, neither of them are yours, and she's on OnlyFans, you know, and she's rich, living in Germany, Poland, and doesn't want you back, that'd be a trip. That'd be a trip. Mucho respecto to these lads. Would I go over there as a foreign fighter? Absolutely not, under no circumstances. You'll be forgotten that quick, except by your family. Okay, let's get to it. Let's see what we've got.
This is the Ukrainian Mechanized Infantryman, the muscle of the mechanized troops that engages and destroys the enemy via close combat. The mechanized troops are Ukraine's regular infantry branch, represented on their berets by 2 crossed wheel-lock muskets and a bursting bomb. Their tactical arm patch is an olive shield with a blue trident, not to be confused with the similar territorial defense patch which has battlements. The basic soldier earns a salary of 13,244 hryvnia a month, equivalent to $358 as of late 2022. But
wait a minute, $358 a month? Would you fight for $350 a month? Are you serious? Your base pay $350 a month. That's terrifying. What do you reckon, Nicole? Would you rather give them some financial advice, and that would start with go and become a citizen of another country? Tell you the truth, the poor Ukrainians are always going to live on a fault line, and there's going to be trauma and there's going to be conflict the rest of their existence. Birdman, Kaz, is it true that 1RR's mascot is a pony and 2RR's mascot is 1RR? There's no fake news in that, Birdman. All the way. Well done, sir. Septimus is the name of the pony. Yep, the Shetland pony. And 1RR is 2RR's mascot. Wasp, how you going? Fuck that. Fucking Zelensky. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Zelensky, and I don't think it's going to end too well for him. Not because of my opinions, but because he knows where all the money is, knows all the secrets of the last administration. And I would not want that in my background, just like Prigozhin when he went up against Putin. And then Putin said, come and see me. Plane's coming. Gets on a plane. Never seen again. Hey, Chris, how you going, mate? How's the daughter going, my man?
Volunteers are now earning an additional 30,000 hryvnia a month in wartime pay, and up to 100,000 hryvnia a month if they participate in combat, proportionate to the amount of time they spend on the front line. In other words, the Ukrainian private engaged in continuous combat operations earns about as much monthly as an American sergeant.
Okay, so I jumped too early. It's getting up there a little bit, but again, when you consider what they're going through, yeah, not so much. Because if I was Ukrainian, yes, I'd be doing it anyway, regardless. But as a foreign fighter, no.
Basic combat unit of the Ukrainian Mechanized Infantry is the 9-man squad. Each squad is mounted in either a BTR armored personnel carrier or BMP infantry fighting vehicle. Mostly so
basically the same as Australia is going to be, except ours is going to be 8. I believe that we should have 14-man sections, and we'll talk about that later.
Soviet vintage BMP-1 and BMP-2 IFVs, or BTR-70 and BTR-80 APCs, with a smaller number of indigenously upgraded versions like the BTR-4. The 92nd Mechanized Brigade is known to have BTR-4s, for example. Ukraine has also received infantry carriers as foreign aid, like about half a battalion's worth of Slovenian BVP M80As operated by the 24th Mechanized Brigade.
Good point there, Nicole. So this would be considered, they would be getting paid potentially half of what an Australian private would get on operations.
And Dutch YPR 765 APCs that outfitted the 5th Reserve Tank Brigade's Mech Battalion in May. There are more, of course, but not always with the mechanized brigades. For example, the French VABs used by the 46th Air Assault Brigade are out of scope for this video, as are the Humvees the 58th and 59th Motorized Brigades have been using to recreate Generation Kill. As for
where's our APCs? Our APCs are getting used to fairly good effect over there because the lack of tactics and SOPs being used by the Russians, and the lack of, and I believe there's a lack of this happening with the Ukrainians as well, of combined arms, of infantry with armoured vehicles, also with indirect, all working in tandem with each other. So you've got paper, scissors, and rock. It seems that when you watch a lot of the videos, it's lacking in a lot of these areas. If you don't see anyone supporting an infantry outpost, etc., that might be fighting for its life, a safe house, it might be because it's not in a high priority push that they're trying to defend from the enemy. What the Ukrainians are doing now would be considered the third phase of war, which is the defense.
The squad each has a squad leader, senior rifleman, sniper, RPG-7 gunner and assistant gunner, 1 or 2 machine gunners, a driver, and a gunner for the vehicle. The Ukrainian Army's standard issue service weapon is the AK-74, but depending on the unit, the driver and RPG
That's a 5.56 weapon system like the Steyr team.
7 gunner may be armed with the shorter AKS-74U carbine, although this seems to vary. The senior rifleman is also armed with a GP-25 underbarreled grenade launcher.
This is all very similar to what we use in Australia. We have 2 M203 versions, underslung grenade launchers for our weapon systems. We have 2 guns, okay, in our sections as well. We have 2 commanders, the section commander and the 2IC, and your basic rifleman, which allows, or can be marksman, which allows for what do we call it, symmetry within the fire teams. But the overall commander is always the section commander.
Similar to Russian practice, most squads in a platoon are meant to have 2 RPK-74 light machine guns, 1 RPG-7 rocket launcher, and 1 SVD marksman. However, one of the platoon's 3 squads has a PKM belt-fed machine gun team in lieu of the RPKs, and one
7.62. Now, Australian sections can be upgraded to 7.62 Mag 58 machine guns too, or the the M240 Golf, as they'd call it in the US, 7.62. When you actually join the army, like Chris's daughter, she will actually get qualified in the Mag 58 when she gets to her unit, because everyone, regardless of corps, needs to be able to stand a post with a medium machine gun, 7.62 Mag 58.
Squad per platoon will have a medic rifleman in lieu of an SVD. So the platoon in total has 4 RPKs, 1 PKM, 2 SVDs, and 3 RPG-7s. Disposable AT munitions like RPG-22s and donated M72 Laws, AT-4s, M141s, NLAWs, and other systems have also been made available. In this regard, with the exception of the more capable systems that have been donated like the NLAW, there isn't really a big difference between Ukrainian and Russian squads in terms of capability, although the Russians generally have a larger share PKP general purpose machine guns rather than RPKs. As for Javelin missiles, while the US Army uses them as platoon or squad weapons, pretty much no other military can afford that. The Ukrainian Research Center for Missile Troops and Artillery has published a TTP document stating Javelin should be centralized in a battery, either part of a brigade's anti-tank battalion or...
Okay, so what they're talking about there, the Javelin, I'll get to that 2 seconds. Simon was saying the foreign fighter, the Aussie foreign fighter that was just killed clearing mines, is a volunteer in Ukraine, is one of the sons of the guy who worked within the RAF. He's devastated. May rest in peace. Yep, rest in peace. He's over there as a volunteer, and his loss will be tragic to his family. A father can't stop his son from going. That is the hardest and scariest thing, and even more so because most mothers can't even understand the reason why you'd want to go. Unfortunately, to seek out and close with the enemy, the adventure, the thrill, the legacy, that is something that sits in most men's hearts. The more testosterone, the more likely you're willing to push that envelope to a permanent ending. Now, this Javelin they're talking about, it has the power to hit vehicles, armoured vehicles, in and around 2 to 2.5 kilometres. There's 2 ways it can hit, and that's an air attack, a top attack, or it can be a direct attack. Now, these weapon systems can defeat any armoured vehicle. So when you hear people talking about the capabilities, the speed, the fact that it's diesel or fuel, the armour content, etc., it gets hit by a top attack by a Javelin, it's all over, team. So when people talk about all the schematics of the vehicles, just be aware you're in big trouble. And the scariest thing is when you're fighting conventional warfare fighters, they'll normally fire 2 of these, right? They fire in pairs, hunter-killer teams. Now, depending on the vehicle they're fighting, they might launch 2 at the same time onto 2 attacks as a a fire control order, armor defeating team. And the perfect people for this is direct fire support weapons in the battalions, or even armoured reconnaissance like our Hunter River Lancer cavalry units that can dislocate enemy armour, fire these rounds back in their vehicle, diddy mow off the village, appear somewhere else and do it again. Does it cost a lot of money? Sure, to train, but when you consider you're destroying a vehicle that might be worth tens of millions of dollars, for under 150 grand, there you go. Yeah. You're not going to survive a Javelin attack, team. Cal 7A Kaz, great call yesterday. I've been thinking a lot today about the question you asked me, and I think I have a good one for you for our next chat. Well, let's make it soon there, Cal. Let's make it soon. I look forward to that. The Wingy says, in about 4 weeks, Simon, I may be able to get away for a couple of days and have a beer with you. Well, you're around the same age, so it makes sense. Did you meet on Tinder?
We're directly under brigade control. Each battery would have 3 platoons with 3 squads of 3 Javelin teams each. It can either act as an anti-tank reserve for the brigade commander or attach its platoons to mechanized battalions. From there, a platoon either acts as the battalion's own anti-tank reserve or attaches its squads to the mechanized company.
All battalions have an anti-armour direct fire support weapons capability, right? And that's a lieutenant colonel's, a battalion commander's asset, that entire platoon. Just like his reconnaissance and surveillance and snipers platoon, just like his signal platoon, that's what happens. He owns them. You can ask for them if you're in Alpha Company Bravo or Charlie, and it might assist you on a mission, but he'll give it to who he believes has given the best ConOps back brief that lets him know I need this as a mitigation to what I believe is going to be a large threat in my location. I need it most. A Javelin's part of Australian Army. Absolutely. They've been here for goddamn years, mate.
Companies. That's more or less 1 Javelin team per infantry platoon. It should be noted that the crews of the more capable anti-tank systems like Javelin traditionally branch artillery. This is supported by photos of soldiers with artillery patches training on Javelin immediately before the war. The NLAW, by contrast, seems to be used more by infantrymen. More recently, in August, Ukraine put out a video on Facebook covering the 87th Anti-Tank Artillery Battalion of the Reserve 45th Artillery Brigade, referencing their use of the Javelin, Stukhna, and the older Rapira anti-tank guns. This level of centralization makes sense from a training, accountability, and flexibility perspective. With a limited number of Javelins available, it wouldn't make sense to try and give every infantry platoon its own organic Javelin team. It's more economical to attach them where they're needed. But back to the platoon, in addition to 3 squads, there's a platoon commander and assistant platoon commander who ride with the squads. Each mechanized company.
Okay, team, what can also be, because we've got a large push for people going to artillery now. Let us know if you're going to artillery in comments. Basically, forward observers would be travelling with these teams as well. Okay, and what they're going to be is experts on communications, but also on battle damage assessment and being able to call in different weapon systems, whether it be naval gunfire, whether it be fast air, CAS missions, whether it be AME. It can be a redundancy to communications. And normally there's 3 people in a detachment of those. They should not be living among artillery operators. They should be living amongst armour and infantry, whether that be dismounted or mounted. So they need to be able to learn the language, the fitness and the requirements to live amongst those combat soldiers. So if you're going for a forward observer, There's no reason why you wouldn't be in those vehicles, and you'd probably be in the command vehicle. You'd probably have a captain, a bombardier, corporal, fucking weird name for a corporal. I get it. It sounds like someone with gastro, or what would we say? I was going to say hemorrhoid. No, constipation. And then you'd have the observer, where they lie to you a little bit and say you're going to be a forward observer. You think you're doing the calling in when in actual fact you're carrying the radio for the guy that's calling it in. So there we go. Chris says, what's the difference between a Javelin and a Carl Gustav? Well, the Carl Gustav is direct attack only. That's an 84 millimeter. It's a recoilless weapon system. You could call it similar to a recoilless rifle. Every single infantry guy is trained in it at the School of Infantry. And it's a direct attack weapon system. Whereas the actual Javelin is a multi piece of equipment which has a clue, which is the launching unit, and it actually has the missile housing itself. They come together. What happens is it refrigerates, brings the temperature right down, is able to lock onto the target. Sometimes it can take over 40 seconds. But once that locks on and you've got someone that knows how to use it, you decide direct attack or top attack, depending on the vehicle that you're fighting. And when you launch it, it comes out of the rocket housing, and it looks like it drops before it takes off again. And it is a signatory weapon. Everyone on the battlefield is going to know when a Javelin goes off because of the unique sound and signature that it actually creates. You'll hear it. It's like a... and it's loud. The problem is it also shows where it came from. If you're looking in that direction, you're going to see exactly where that Javelin came from if it uses top attack especially. There you go, Chris. Narcy says, when I was offered Artie, I said it sounded boring, but I'd prefer to wait for something I know I have a passion for outside of the army. Man, to tell you the truth, I think artillery is going to be one of the fastest moving corps with the most amount of adoption of HIMARS and independent weapons, gun systems, rocket launch systems, anti-armor, anti-air. It's going to be incredible. I just don't know if they can change the culture because they're kind of weird dudes. G'day, Kaz. Joining in 2028 or early 2029, do you reckon infantry will be absolutely be open? Absolutely. At the moment, what's happening is there's just been a surge, which means in 4 years from now, they're going to have a goddamn problem with the amount of people that are out unless they offer sign-on bonuses for those people to stay that have watched my videos on how to get rich in 30 years in the army. So, I reckon, somewhere in the next 6 months to a year, it's going to open up again, team. I'm back. How are we? We're good, Joy. Great conversation we had the other day. Nicole Nasty, a good friend who I went through Kapuka with, has spent his entire career in Artie and loves it. He was assigned this corps. There you go. Produce your own 105 millimeter rounds. They were about, not sure. Thanks, Kaz. Cool. No worries, Chrissy. Lightfoot, how you going, mate? Hope your job's doing well at the moment, my man. It's good to see what you've made of yourself in the last 12 months. Chris says, my daughter is in artillery and doing the first hook course now. Is that right? Oh, your son. Yeah, got ya. Imagine if you've got the whole family in artillery. Hey, Lloydie, hope you're doing well. There you go. Good support for each other. Let's get back into it.
It has 3 of these platoons. Companies mounted on BTRs also have an anti-tank platoon with 17 personnel, 3 BTRs, and 3 Métis anti-tank guided missiles. BMP companies don't have this platoon as BMPs themselves can mount ATGMs. In the company headquarters, one vehicle carries a company commander, deputy commander, senior technician, company sergeant major, medical instructor who's usually an NCO, an SBR-3 radar operator, senior driver, an APC gunner.
I'm not necessarily a fan of that team. You've basically got the head of the snake. Everyone that is important is all in one vehicle, and also in a vehicle that stands out from the others as a command vehicle. That makes it a hell of a target to an anti-tank sniper using something similar to a Javelin. Wait for these vehicles of the vanguard of the company to pass. They're going to know what the tactics are of this call sign, and then from there, boom, light him up. Common sense.
This makes for a total of 112 personnel in BTR companies and 95 in BMP companies. Overall, very Soviet in structure. One level above, mechanized battalions have 3 mechanized companies, but there are some differences between BTR and BMP battalions.
Okay, we're getting a little bit out of the woods there. This is supposed to be about infantry today, so what we're going to do is we'll look at something else. Where are we? Where are we? I'll find you something. I've just got to be careful about the music they put on. Epic Ukrainian strike. I don't know what's going on there, team. Let's check it out. Oh. We'll just get past any introduction music so we don't get ourselves a copyright ban. Military Mind. We'll subscribe to them. Thank you.
Now the war enters another day and new developments emerge from the Ukrainian front. 5 civilians have been killed in the past 24 hours by Russian shelling in the Donetsk and Kherson regions of eastern Ukraine, as stated by the Ukrainian push into Russian
13 days ago, team.
As reached convenient positions. Palestinians were killed and just Russian attacks, these fighters hold their positions and strike back effectively, proving once again that Ukraine's defense is built on the courage and resilience of its warriors.
Just be aware, team, anything that you also see from Ukraine is tongue-in-cheek. They have a state-run media team, which also means propaganda. So whatever comes out of there, sometimes when you watch videos where vehicles are getting taken out, you're going, that didn't look right. That looks like it's a little bit edited. Corin, hey, mate, I was just watching a Ukraine video myself. Have you seen the mini video about the drone flyer named Darwin? I haven't, mate. I haven't, Corin. Yeah, that's a horrid setup. Yep. Timothy Pulley. G'day, mate. How you going, Timothy? Are you having a good pulley tonight? Has anyone subscribed yet tonight? Let us know.
Not on distant promises.
That's good. Okay. Man, they're my worst nightmare, these goddamn drones, and both sides are using them now, team. Once you get the ghetto chicken, as they like to call it, or the ghetto bird getting used like they do by the police in the USA, you're in big trouble. Yeah. They're a momentary problem. There'll be something that defeats these soon. What will that be? I don't know. But the biggest defeat to them is when both sides start using them. Australians used trench raids against the Germans, the first to use them. And the horrible thing about that was, although they were highly effective, imagine a section being inside there. When they started doing those night raids, it caused terror, PTSD for the Germans that they were attacking. But then they turned around and did it the same back to Australians. And then they basically brought on their own worst enemy. So that to me is terrifying. The thought that every day, every night, there's a potential that you have an enemy platoon-sized call sign creeping up to pound you to death with bloody shovels in the middle of the night. Bro, you've got to suss it when you get some free time. Look up Ukrainian drone Darwin. I will, Corin. I will. I subscribed about 4.5 years ago, says the filthy Rathy. Does that count? It does, mate, and it's appreciated every day. Wanham? Hey, brother, I'm glad to have found you live. Wanham, it's good to have you here, my mate. It's these conversations. The reason why it's so important that we have these live streams, although it's not optimum, and I wish I could just make videos, the fact of the matter is, it's more genuine to reach out to people and actually be able to have the communication and answer their questions with context on the screen. And the questions you ask take us down some really unusual rabbit holes, which normally you could never be able to answer that in a comment section. I've only got so much typing left with these fingers, and I don't text. Dwayne Duffy says, "G'day, Kaz, man. I apologise for my absence. I hope you're all keeping well." I was actually going to ring you, Dwayne, to see if you're sick or whether you've found a new hobby. Nicole says, "Nasty, honestly, do some research in artillery. It's a lot deeper and also a lot of maths involved." It is. But it's like being an archer. You can't ask someone from back in the days of Rome, or the time with the long spear of, what's it? If you had a calling to be an archer or a calling to be a swordsman, and they said you can only be an archer, you wouldn't be happy with it. So I get it. And if people go into their calling, chances are they're going to stay forever, and that's what we want. For 30 years at least, so they can become rich and righteous, set up their family in a fantastic life. Wingy says some stats for you, Kaz. Australia sends 1,000 drones a month to Ukraine. Ukraine makes 1 million small drones a year. It uses 10,000 a month on Russian forces. There you go. But ours don't have a kinetic capability. That's the bit that I don't understand, because that wouldn't be hard to create at all. That doesn't look good. That's, I believe that's artillery coming in there, team. One of the scariest things for an infantry soldier is when you start to take indirect fire or direct fire from a heavy weapon system. That normally is the entree for the main meal, which will be a dismounted or mounted attack on your call sign. So when you're going to take cover, you've got to assume at the moment from a flank outside danger close, you're actually going to have dismounted infantry or armoured vehicles coming towards your location right now. And if you're fighting Russians, I believe you're really taking it in your hands. Are they going to take me prisoner? Or are they going to take me to the polar owl? Are they going to take me to the polar wolf? Are they going to take me to the polar swan or to the black dolphin? That is terrifying. Check those out on online, guys, and it will scare the shit out of you. I've been a bit unwell, says Dwayne. I'm sorry about that, mate. That big flu's been going around too, which has been brutal. Corin says that this is only a few years into the kind of warfare. The future is going to be spooky with what people will be using. Having said that, you do want to be part of a conventional warfare system so that when you do meet the opposition, that your training, your standard operating procedures, your tactical techniques and procedures, and professional leadership all has those reactions, actions on ready for the worst case scenario, and you're surrounded by people that are safe, effective, and lethal with their weapon systems and unlikely to run when it looks like the odds are down. Marx believed it or not, tradies do a lot of deployment as their tradies. Trades are needed, outfield and combat. Marx, believe it or not, tradies do a lot of deployment as their trades are needed. Yeah, of course. Yep. There is one main corps. It's the reason why infantry will always be the best corps is for one reason. Everyone knows it. They just want to deny it. If you get any child to draw the picture of a soldier Say, draw a picture of a soldier. You know, it doesn't matter what country they are. They will draw the picture of an infantry soldier every time. A stick figure with a helmet on and a rifle in its right hand. They always do that because they know infantry. And number one, they get the girls too. Believe me. Yeah, it's the closest thing to being a professional athlete. Well, you are a professional athlete. A celebrity professional athlete. What else we got? Get on glasses. Simon Powell. Simon Dwayne, you got to stop chasing dirty women. Yeah, they'll catch you every time. Yep. There's people right now in these comments that are probably going to fall in love in Thailand someday. There's a channel called International Legionnaires. They have videos from infantry soldiers, GoPros, as well as the infantry soldiers talking about what's happening as you see it. Okay, Joy, let's look at that right now. Let's look at that right now. Look at this, interactiveness. Okay, what are they called? Called International. Here we go.
Shovel.
Oh, let me turn it down. Patches for our brothers, the chosen company. These all look like they're going to have music in them. You've got to be real careful of that shit, team. Guys, let's have a look at this. Some of these, and this might be a channel that's good for all of us to have a look at. A man who refused to give up. The chosen company by any means. And our what is it, Tim? Chosen company, violence of action. 55 minutes. Chosen company. This is the teaser.
Shovel. You want to do shovel?
Sure.
Good old shovel.
Jump in a shovel. My
Where
one
you
died.
got hit by a FPV drone.
A few.
Whoops.
You know what I love about these dudes? You see them and you realise they're just like you. They're just like me. They're normal guys that stood up when they were called for. Proud, patriotic, fun, loving people. They love dogs. They love women. They love the Idaho potato, even if it comes from Tasmania. You know, they're just normal dudes. You know, it makes you want to go and help them. We're going to have to look after these guys when the war is over. Believe me. Nicole, logistics is highly unappreciated calling. I don't think people have a calling for logistics. I think they just end up there and they grow to love it. I think that's what happens, Simon. Nasty. Oh, I love it. These guys are Aussies too. They really break down what they were thinking and their tactics for situations. Yeah. Nicole says, have a soft spot for grunts, raised by one, and have grandfathers who served in infantry, in RAF. Simon, so true. The ADF would stop without us and also no pay. Look, I think there's a perception that with people that work in logistics that we look down on this, and we don't. We just don't look backwards. Yeah. Some vehicle mechs and armourer in CAV get attached to squadrons and are in the field. If you're a tradie, push for combat posting. Absolutely go for a combat posting. If you're in Ramey or transport and you go to a battalion, you know, you're still one of us. Yep, you'll get looked after and you'll be part of the dark humour. You're going to love it. Two moderators from two different branches who served in logistics. There you go. Yep. And it would be a cold, hungry day if we didn't have you there. Absolutely. Corin says, I'm hoping to land on a cyber roll. Been going hard for my fitness, though, giving myself 12 weeks to push. Don't just apply, man, and then just go as hard as you can. Sometimes people act under pressure and become the best version of themselves after they've got a date, an enlistment date waiting for them. Look at these lads. Listen to the music. Yep. One of the things that scares me about females in combat is, have you ever seen a woman throw a ball? Can you imagine throwing grenades over your head? That'd be terrifying. Terrifying.
Stop!
Ooh. Shit. That guy then that was firing that weapon system, let's go back a little bit there. I'd believe that guy, these guys, their calmness and their weapon manipulation, I've got a real feeling that they're ex-serving soldiers, I would imagine. That's where I am, Kaz, 3 hour. Bam. Are you loving it? Do they look after you? Let us know, Wingy. You know, let everyone in logistics know that you get treated, fine when you're an infantry battalion. Last year I applied this time before I started working out, and it's kept a constant fire under my ass. Absolutely. Daughter doing that this week, throwing grenades. Look, I like to live on the edge, so I'd love to be the safety supervisor for her, but I don't have a hell of a lot of, what would we say? I don't expect too much. When you've got throwing a 455 gram HE explosive, and it's got a casualty radius of 15 metres and a lethal radius of 5 or 6 metres, and you see some ladies that have a hard time even getting a pin out, Chris, you'd panic. That's very true. I had a friend say something similar. I'll try call them tomorrow and get a session booked. It's like watching females with pistols. That is terrifying. Yeah. Simon Powell says, got to tell you a story about 3 hour one day. Absolutely. Dwayne says, I've watched quite a bit of this and it's great. Absolutely. Yes, indeed, they don't take it easy on me. And nor should they. They want you to earn your daily bread. So that trigger manipulation he was doing there, we'd call that rapid rate. He didn't try to fire his weapon system as fast as he could, which would end up with a empty magazine, meaning the person he's shooting at can now, okay, that guy's got poor weapon control. That guy's trigger manipulation. I can anticipate when he's having an immediate action, and that is when I'll attack him in return, and I will win. Or that is the time to sneak forward and throw a grenade. Right? So that guy, I think he clearly knows what he's doing and has probably had a fair bit of experience as well, other than just going to the battlefield and surviving. Look at these guys. Oh! Jesus! I don't want someone firing past my head like that.
Sorry, camera fell off.
Legend. Let's go back.
Sorry, camera fell off.
Gotta love that Aussie accent, don't you? Keep safe, lads. If you're watching now, keep safe. We need you to come home. We really do. We've got about another 7 minutes. What we'll do is we'll wrap up videos there because it's kind of achieved what we wanted to tonight. And that's having a look, at what the hell is going on and trying to get a video out that's nice and clean. So what this is proving, I believe, if it's not jumping around, is that it's not actually our internet. It's the StreamYard app. Could be what the problem is. Could be what the problem is. I don't know. What would you give the score out of 10 tonight for sound and visuals? Has it been jumping around still? I'll have a look in a moment. I've got to get another computer, a second computer in the next couple of months. Not looking forward to that waste of money, but this is what we do, isn't it? Guys and gals, make sure that if you actually join the military. Okay, so good to see, Chris. Good on you, Maxie. there had been no lags, 9.5 out of 10. I'm the only one that glitches here. Cobra, 10. What score do you give to the modern woman psyche? Joy. Good on you, Maxie. Chris Davenport. No, it's been good tonight. Thanks, mate. So it might actually be the StreamYard app. I've really got to go in deep and see what the hell has been going on. But I love the StreamYard because I love putting your comments on the screen. You know, the usability of it is fantastic. You know, I've got to get back to using the Stream Lab, the Stream Deck as well. Chris, that's the Matrix. 2.1, bastard. Yeah. We'll get out of here in a second, team. We got on here a little bit early. I appreciate you guys turning up. Clean service seed from you. Thanks, Cal. Guys, you don't get to see what happens behind the scenes here. We never want to waste your time. You know, we always want to be here for you. Lately, the actual bat phone has been running hot. You know, it's been great. I've been talking to some great people. Some of their names I thought were just spelt wrong, but that's just the way they're pronounced. But you are being represented by some fantastic young and middle-aged people that not just want to go and serve the nation, but actually want to just be upstanding people and part of something that's not negative. So we love having you here. I need to do a video to do a retake on the how to become a millionaire in the Australian Army. You know, so what I'll do is that won't be a stream. That will be a clean video, and then I'll put it up there because I'm telling you now, if it works, you know, I'd love to have like a money club where no one pays anything. It's just we come together and compete. How much did you invest in something this month? You know, it's not a competition, but what it is a reminder that what we drop in the pond now can actually stop us from having to do stupid shit or having mental issues to do with how am I going to survive and provide and protect my family in the future. So, guys and gals, you know, this is the #1 but smallest channel on YouTube. We are definitely here for you, and talking to you guys actually teaches me on the daily. It allows me to speak to people and say the reason why I have the views that I have is because I'm not in an echo chamber. I get to talk people who test my theories and add to it on a daily basis. Now, we had 5 hours of phone calls, even on Mother's Day. Out of control. Jared, here he is, just chimed in. Thank you for your service, mate. Lighty, general internet has been lagging instead of getting worse. I play from guys around multiple countries, north, south, east and west. Everyone has experienced the same issues. There you go, Lighty. I didn't know. Interesting. Lanky Warrior, 10 out of 10, Kaz, been quite clean. MMA recapped, best channel, Oat? I'm not sure what that means. I can't keep up with you young people. The Wingmen. Maybe we can all put in an amount to one fund us all, Kaz. Imagine that if we had, wouldn't that be a great idea? The long prong. Sorry, guys. Joined Chocks in my 30s because of you, Kaz. I got some of my IATs and going on promotion course next year. Thanks so much, mate. I can't compete with that. The long prong. Is that you, Diddy? Imagine, Wingy, if we had like a sponsorship system where we found someone and every month, you know, just it became a channel thing that everyone puts in $2 or $3 and that money was able to help one family, you know, just get ahead. I would love to be part of something like that, you know. Imagine just $10 a fortnight, you know, paid by as many people as can do 10 a fortnight, and that can be a lot of money for some people, team. It can also be quite painful for someone to keep hearing us talk about helping someone else when they're in a position themselves, you know. But giving makes you feel great. It really does. Did you know a country was left to Rome in their will. Their king left the country to Rome because they said, we want the best for our country. The best way to do it is leave us in the hands of Romans. And so they did so. Amazing. JRE, I'll be in that for sure. So would I. Maybe we need to do a video on that. I can't be the one that finds the person. I want to give to something. I don't want to be the one that picks it. $50 a month. Wingy. That's a pack of durries to a homeless man. Yeah, it's an interesting thing that could make us very proud of our channel, especially if it was like a family that a single mum who had lost her husband, preferably not broken up with him, and that was able to assist her. Wingnut, I'm a bloody pensioner. A bloody pensioner? Is it that time of the month? Don't be crude, Kaz. Simon, pick me. Yeah. I can afford it, says Wingy. Simon Powell, support your poor Raffies. DVA will be supporting you soon enough, my man. Then we'll be eating toasted sandwiches forever. Guys and gals, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I'm going to go and look at the back end now and see where this showed up because I couldn't get this to show up to give you a warning of when it was going to come out, etc. So I think I know what's going on now. I'm not sure. But let's get to it. And let's remember there's people all over the world, who are doing a lot worse than us. A lot worse than us. And, we can watch videos like this while we're actually sitting in heated, air-conditioned rooms with absolutely no danger in a place of almost 100% safety. Yeah. That's incredible. Ozanon! Hey, Kaz, Gallipoli platoon staff tried to implement BFD gates at the School of Infantry. 2 fails equals warning, 3 fails equals warning and encouragement to core transfer, 4 fails, admin discharge, CO rejected it. Yeah, good. It should be exactly what it is. You never leave the School of Infantry until you pass a BFA, Basic Fitness Assessment. The BFD is the Basic Fitness Diagnostic. I'll tell you what it should be and what it used to be, Senior Ozanon. Well, it used to be, for starters, impossible to ever go into a session. You could be at Singleton for 10 years. You'd end up getting kicked out for untrainability. You can never, ever go into a session, and you better not be able to do it now without passing that BFD, because that means you don't even have the fitness to be safe, to have courage, the physical, capability to be able to conduct safely live fire operations beside those around you with night vision equipment on at night. That would almost be a ministerial, for people, if they were allowed for any reason to be able to go into live fire by day or night, if they can't even pass a fitness test. That would be a red line. Yeah. Be safe. JRE, good night, team. Hit the like button. V2 Racing, g'day, buddy. Cheers, all safe. Wingy, good night, all. Stay safe, stay happy. If not, drink with friends and laugh. Nicole, bring back the good old days when it comes to the minimum BFA. Have a great week, everyone. Absolutely. See you later. Stay safe. Someone is going to piss the bed tonight.